Guys, the Republican Party as you currently know it is at serious risk of becoming completely irrelevant within the next 10 years or less. There are a lot of reasons for this, and I want to get into every single one of them in this video. First, we have the demographic shift that is occurring in America. The younger generation is overwhelmingly liberal, and the gap continues to widen. Now, you might have heard the idea that people tend to get more conservative as they get older. The reality is that is more myth than reality, as there is some small percentage of the population that does tend to shift more conservative as they get older, but it is not as large of a percentage as you might think. Further demographic shifts include Asian voters aggressively shifting from 55% Republican voters to now being 55% Democrat voters. Then further race-related demographic shifts include whites becoming less than 50% of the total population of the U.S. by 2045. And most non-white races vote overwhelmingly Democrat, and Republicans continued to lose ground amongst all minorities. The Republican Party is fully aware of these demographic shifts, and in response, instead of changing their platform, they have doubled down on appealing to their ever-dwindling base and using all sorts of unsavory tactics to win power despite the odds being stacked against them. Republicans initially were the undisputed kings of gerrymandering, and this allowed them to win power nationally that they would not have otherwise been able to achieve. However, some courts have begun to fight back on that strategy and rule some of this unconstitutional, as well as some of the other voter suppression tactics that the right has resorted to. And Democrats have been caught off guard after getting behind on the gerrymandering early in the 2010s. But it is now believed that the effect of gerrymandering is basically a tie between both parties at the national level. Though certainly state by state, it is still not a fair system. Then you have the much more aggressive conservative news and social media outlets that are much more effective at spreading their propaganda than the left is, and the Republican Party consistently being more aggressive in terms of Supreme Court nominees and other key factors. The Republican Party essentially stole 2 Supreme Court seats while the Democrats more or less allowed it to happen, cementing the Supreme Court in favor of the Republican Party potentially for decades to come. The only way the Republican Party can survive this demographic shift long term is to change their platform to more closely resemble the will of the American people. The tactics they have used to maintain some power in the last 10 years will not work forever. They must become representatives of the viewpoints of the average American and not representatives of failing ideologies. If you go issue by issue, you will see that most issues Republicans are not in line with the majority in this country. But they so far seem very unwilling to shift their platform to be more accommodating to all. The reality is that Democrats should be dominating politically given the advantages they currently have. But they are not because they have a litany of problems themselves. They are bought and paid for by the corporations just like the Republicans are. They have rigged the last 2 presidential primary elections by having key candidates drop out and endorse the candidate that the party handpicked, and the one that is the most corrupt and paid for by big money. So do not think that I will be letting the Democrats off easy, because I can easily make an entire video blasting them for their corruption as well. With that, guys, let me know your thoughts. Will Republicans survive the next 10 years? Do they adapt? Do Democrats start to get their house in order and actually start to dominate nationally? These are all remaining questions, and we will find out a lot in this next election, and definitely in the next few years after that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.